I was folding laundry in the living room that Sunday afternoon. The TV was playing some light comedy, but my mind was elsewhere. My husband, Greg, was out grocery shopping, and I was enjoying the rare silence that came with a quiet home. I didn't expect any visitors. So when I heard a knock on the door, I assumed it was Greg having forgotten his keys. But when I opened it, standing there was Kyle, Greg's old college buddy, who had just moved back to town. "Kyle," I said, a bit surprised. "Hey, Emily." Greg said I could stop by and pick up the ladder he borrowed last week. "Oh, right." I nodded, stepping aside. "Come on in. He's not back yet, but I'll help you find it in the garage." Kyle stepped inside, looking around our modest living room. This place hasn't changed a bit. We found the ladder in the garage quickly, but just as Kyle was about to leave, it began pouring outside. Hard. Thunder cracked loud enough to rattle the windows. "You might want to wait it out," I suggested. "You'll get drenched out there." "Thanks," he said, setting the ladder down again. Back in the living room, I handed him a towel while he sat down on the far end of the couch. I returned to my spot, both of us staring at the TV without much interest. It was awkward, but not uncomfortable. Kyle had always been respectful, if a little too quiet. "You doing okay, Kyle?" I asked after a moment. "Greg mentioned you moved back for a fresh start." He gave a half smile. "Trying. It's harder than I thought." There was a vulnerability in his voice that surprised me. I'd always known him to be the quiet type, the kind who stood back at parties, smiled politely, and left early. "Fresh starts are messy," I said. "But sometimes that's how the best chapters begin." He nodded. "I've been thinking a lot about that. About the mistakes I've made. The friendships I ruined, relationships I didn't fight for." I could feel the emotion building in his voice. It caught me off guard. This wasn't just small talk anymore. "You don't have to share anything you're not ready to," I said gently. "No, it's okay," he said, his eyes on the screen, though I doubt he saw it. "You and Greg, you've always seemed like you had it figured out." I laughed lightly. "That's what it looks like from the outside. Truth is, we've had our share of storms too." "I guess I just admire that," he said, finally looking at me. "The way you handle things. The way you talk about people with kindness." I didn't know how to respond. His words were sincere, not flirtatious, but layered with something deeper, something fragile. The thunder rolled again outside. We sat in that heavy silence, filled with unspoken memories and quiet regrets. Eventually, Kyle stood up. "I should go. Rain's letting up." He picked up the ladder again. As I walked him to the door, he paused. "Thank you, Emily, for listening." "Anytime, Kyle. Really." He stepped out into the fading drizzle, and I closed the door slowly. My heart was unexpectedly heavy. Not because anything had happened, but because something had changed. A small moment of human connection had peeled away the layers we wear for the world. When Greg came home later, I didn't tell him about the conversation. Not because I was hiding it, but because it was sacred, something that didn't need to be explained. Weeks passed. Kyle kept his distance, but I occasionally heard updates through Greg. He'd started therapy, found a new job, joined a running group. One day, Greg smiled at me over breakfast and said, "Kyle says you gave him hope that day." I paused mid-bite, caught off guard. "He said that?" "Yeah." Said just talking to you made him realize he wasn't as alone as he thought. I swallowed hard. Not out of guilt, but gratitude. That day, on an ordinary couch in our living room, I didn't do anything extraordinary. I just listened. And somehow, that was enough to shift a man's direction. Sometimes, life lessons don't arrive through big decisions or dramatic moments. Sometimes they happen quietly, when someone sits beside you and you decide to show up with compassion.